Hi dear friends, welcome to my channel. It's Akshad by Devraj. So I hope you guys are working towards to improve our communication in English. So before going to start the session, I would request you guys to please subscribe to my channel and like and comment. And I have one more important uh, the information which we are looking for the volunteers for our foundation NGO, that is Vishnu Foundation. So even I have told in the previous video also, we are looking for the volunteers in pan India level. So at least one candidate from each district of Indian territory. So to uplift the upon children, all orphans and the visually impaired and physically handicapped students and children. So this is only for these category students and children. So please, I hope I would get the plenty of requests and also the volunteers from all the states. So I hope you guys are working great to upgrade yourself. And let me start today's paper reading. And I request you to please subscribe, like, and comment, and share if you like the video. Let's start today's paper reading, and let's check what is in the front page of the Hindu newspaper. So it is not working. The hell is happening? Escape. Yes, let's check what is in the front page. KJ Counseling 2023. So the delimitation process is unfair to South. Every step guided by design to help people. Dhoni keen to turn out for CSK again. 35 lakh loss, 10th students fail or drop out. It's very bad. Amit Shah appeals for 15-day fees in Manipur. Restless defer plan into immerse medals. B. Dhanand is city police commissioner. Government forced B. Dhanand as the Bangalore police commissioner on Tuesday. He was heading the state intelligence bureau. He replaces C.H. Pratap Reddy, who has been transferred and posted as DGP, Internal Security Division. So free bus travel for women after tomorrow's cabinet meeting, says Ramalinga Reddy. IIC develops novel thermal desalination system. The Ananda is passionate about fitness and bike riding. Minorities unhappy as Salim is not appointed as police commissioner. In an open letter to his colleagues, Mr. Salim announced the change in his role and thanked traffic police personnel for their cooperation and diligence in maintaining traffic. C Camp receives CSR support from CITIA. Periodic maintenance and planting right species will minimize tree fall cases during monsoon, say exports. Authorities have not maintained the tree for a very long time, and concretization is the root cause for uprooting of trees, says the director of Research Center and Center for Climate Change, Experts also say a tree consensus should be conducted to know the health of the trees. Heavy rain lashes quad subsidy. Deputy CM consults legal team over delimitations. Is government keen on holding BBMP elections? Applications invited for diploma in agriculture. Water Adalit to be held tomorrow from 9:30 a.m. B report filed in Sankey Tanky protest case. Mango Mela in Lolbag from June 2 to 11. MOEF returns state government's proposal for dereservation for forest land in Shimoga. Dearness allowance half government stop increased. Ministers empowered to take up general transports. Society will respond to reversal of textbook revision. CM calls meeting of ministers today to consult on guarantees. HDK wants CM to break silence on guarantees. STHC stays further action based on FIR against Ashwath Narayan. Breakthrough Science Society objects to ISRO chairman's claim. Population based delimitation unfair to southern states. KTR RBR's leaders asks all parties in South India to raise their voice against the impending injustice. Highlights that they are likely to be punished for following centre's population control policies. Jagan to shift to Vizag before September. Scientist team discovers new exoplanet with mass 13 times that of Jupiter. The short history of a large note. Let me read this editorial page, guys. Make it visible even more. Yes, the short history of a large note. The withdrawal of the 2000 note from circulation by the Reserve Bank of India, which it announced on May 19, 2023, marks the end of a sordid chapter in the tragicomic demonetization and saga. The presence of the 2000 note in circulation was a constant reminder of the horrors of a nation in queue. The note was also an object of ridicule, particularly due to obituary claims at the time of its introduction of a nano chip implanted in it for the beleaguered government. The chapter on the 2000 note had to be closed, with press printing of the note stopped after 2018-19. Its eventual withdrawal was expected. Many years in 2016, the 2000 note had emerged as the centerpiece of demonetization, a policy that was illogical in conception and mismanaged in execution. The note had to be printed in larger numbers because the government had not checked whether it had enough notes to replace what was withdrawn. On November 2016, the total stock of notes of 2000 with the Reserve Bank of India and currency chest was 473.3 million pieces worth 94,660 crore. This amount constituted just 6% of the value of specific bank notes withdrawn. People were dying in the queues, and the realization dawned that more 2000 notes were required for faster remonetization. However, the RBI printed the new 2000 notes in a new size. Normally, an automated teller machine contained four cassettes. Two cassettes held 500 notes, and the other two cassettes held 1000 notes and 100 notes. The new 2000 note would not fit into any of these cassettes. Consequently, every one of the 2.2 lakh ATMs in India had to be recalibrated. Recalibration was a massive and complex exercise that required coordination across banks, ATM manufacturers, the National Payments Corporation of India, and switch operators. Engineers had to personally visit each ATM and spend time between 2 to 4 hours with an ATM to complete the recalibration. The recalibration crisis led to another hard dark measure. Banks packed all the cassettes with available notes of 100. If all four cassettes of an ATM were filled with 100 notes, one ATM could store currency worth 2.1 lakh. The maximum withdrawal allowed per person per day was 2000. In other words, one ATM could at the maximum meet the needs of only 105 people per day, but there were thousands queuing up in front of every ATM. When the stock of 100 notes was quickly exhausted, banks demanded more from the RBI. The RBI had no option but to supply old and a soiled notes that banks had returned to the RBI earlier. Soil notes often jammed the ATMs, which only added to the chaos. The quality of the new 2000 note was also a problem. Many notes were poorly printed. Some notes had a shown shadow of Mahatma Gandhi's face in addition to the photograph of his face. Some others have had uneven borders, while others were of varying colors, shades, and sizes. In the villages, farmers were cheated by criminals as they were paid in fake 2000 notes. They were just high resolution photocopies of the original note. Finally, even when people managed to get a 2000 note, most of them were unable to spend it. No one would afford change or a balanced payment or transactions. In effect, the problem of a short supply of notes was exacerbated by the release of the 2000 note. The need for a larger note. All this while, the public was stuck with one basic question. If, as the government claimed, most illegal transactions and stocks of cash were in notes of 5,000, 500, and 1,000, why did the government release new notes of 2000? No credible explanation was ever provided. In fact, the RBI had asserted to the government on October 17, 2014 that new notes of the denomination of 5,000 and 10,000 to be introduced in view of rising inflation and problems of managing currency logistics. However, the government declined this request on May 18, 2016 and advised the RBI to introduce new notes of 2000. As on March 31, 2023, the 2000 note accounted for only 10.8% of all notes in circulation, down from 37.3% as on March 31, 2018. Its impact then is likely to be relatively small as compared to the withdrawal of more than 86% of notes in circulation in 2016. Yet, what is undeniable is that India's monetary system has taken a serious credibility hit due to frequent changes and U-turns in currency management. The RBI governor's statement that he cannot unambiguously predict the status of the 2000 note after September 2023 has made a bad situation worse. Those looking for stability will see holding assets in the Indian rupee as a liability. What next? The highest demonetization denomination note in an economy serves as a store of value and is scarcely used in day-to-day transactions. But as per capita incomes and inflation rise, the high denomination note sheds value and become say note for day-to-day transactions. Typically, the economy would then need a new higher denomination note to act as a store of value. This was why the RBI had requested the government to let it issue 5,000 and 10,000 notes in 2014. Now, with the 2000 note being withdrawn, can a growing economy have the 500 note, the next highest denomination, serve as a store of value? The cash to GDP ratio in India was 12% in 2015 to 16, but rose to 14.5% in 2020 to 21 and 13.3% in 2020 to 22. So more cash is circulating, the value of notes is eroding with inflation, and real interest rates are falling. In such a context, can the RBI manage currency logistics efficiently without introducing a new 1,000 note or even a 5,000 or 10,000 note? It may be difficult to escape such an eventuality. Alternatively, would a digital currency and e-rupee be a perfect substitute for a larger denomination note? To be a stable and acceptable store of value, a digital currency must meet the properties among others of anonymity, general purpose use, and exchangeability. But the Habia has stated that anonymity can be assured only to a certain degree in a rupee transactions. Other properties too are still evolving and in a stage of infancy. Thus, it is very unlikely that a digital currency will emerge as a new store of value anytime soon. Let us say, picture Abhi Baki hai, it's still not yet over yet. This is about the 2000 rupee currency which has been taken back by the RBI. So let me go to the next pot editorial page, unboxing the export turnaround in India's toy story. India has recently turned a net export of toys during 2020 to 21 and 2020 to 21 to 22, ending decades of import dominance. Between 2018-19 and 2021-22, toy exports increased from 109 million 820 crore to 171 million 1,237 crore. Imports declined from 371 million 2,593 crore to 110 million 819 crore. Official data show these facts are indisputable. They can be cross-verified by mirror images of trade figures from corresponding importing or exporting countries. The achievement is widely credited to the Make in India initiative launched in 2014 and related policies. Official press releases claim. Moreover, in 2020, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi reportedly spoke of promoting Thai manufacturing in his talk show Man Ki Baat, which can explain such a sharp turnaround in the toy trade. Does it represent a sustained rise in investment, output, and efficiency gains nurtured by policy reforms? Or is it a short term outcome of protectionism and COVID 19 pandemic related global disruptions? More imports than exports. India's toy industry is minuscule. In 2015-16, the latest available figures combined for the organized and unorganized test sectors. The industry had about 15,000 enterprises or establishments producing toys valued at 1,688 crore using fixed capital of 626 crore at current prices and employing 35,000 workers, registered factories. Those employing 10 or more workers on a regular basis accounted for 1% of the number of factories and enterprises. Employed 20% of workers, used 63% of fixed capital, and produced 77% of the value of output. However, during the 1.5 decades between 2000 and 2016, industry output was halved in real terms, net of inflation. With job losses, imports accounted for up to 80% of domestic sales until recently. Between 2000 and 2018 to 19, imports rose by nearly three times as much as exports. India hardly figures in the global toy trade, with its exports at a mere half a percentage point between 2014 and 19. The Indian toy industry witnessed negative productivity growth. So, what explains the sharp turnaround in toy trade in just 3 years? Imports contracted as the basic custom duty on ties HC code 9503 tripled from 20% to 60% in February 2020. Numerous non-tariff barriers were imposed as well, such as production registration orders and safety regulation codes, which contributed to import contraction. Press Information Bureau released July 5, 2022. The question therefore to ask is, do net exports represent sustainable improvements in industrial capability and performance contributing to import contraction? Or are these the mere short-term effects of protectionist measures? The question merits attention as toy making, a labor-intensive industry, has long as all along played a vital and perhaps outsized role in policy discourse. The Asian scene versus India. Historically, Asia's successful industrializing nations promoted Thai exports for job creation, starting with Japan about a century ago. China since the 1980s and currency Vietnam following in their footsteps. However, India followed an inward-oriented industrial policy in the planning era, which sheltered the domestic production by providing a double protection. By imports, tariffs, and reservation of the product for exclusive production in the small scale sector known as the reservation policy, the outcome toy manufacturing remained stagnant, archaic, and fragmented. Even as imports of modern shape and branded toys boomed. The industry is emblematic of all that was wrong with misguided industrial policy, as many critics of India's industrial policy have contended. In 1997, in the wake up of liberal reforms, the reservation policy was abolished. Expectedly, new firms entered the organized sector, but only for a while, and productivity growth improved. But the unorganized sector languished with job losses, even as the majority of workers remained there. In a recent study, India's toy industry, production and trade since 2000 Economic and Political Weekly, May 6, 2023, we re-examined the industry output and export performance since about 2000 with a new farm level data set from the formal and informal sectors synchronized with a four-digit product level trade data. In particular, we looked into how more recent policy initiatives such as Make in India have a bearing on the toy industry. We found that the annual value of output and fixed investment at constant prices net of inflation after peaking in 2007 to 2008 have trended downwards with considerable fluctuations except for 2019-20. Apparently, there is no evidence of Make in India positively affecting in these indicators on a sustained basis. The output of the indicators on a sustained basis. The output of the informal or unorganized sector shrank, through it continues to account for the majority of establishments and employment. Despite early positive trends, industry reservation through it through it helped formalize the industry, failed to sustain output, investment, and productivity growth after 2018-72 contrary to popular perception and official claims. Make in India had a negligible effect in strengthening toy production and exports on a sustained basis. Too premature to claim success, as this reported a turnaround in toy exports is based on data from just two recent years and during the COVID-19 pandemic. It is perhaps too premature to claim policy success. The potential for sustaining net exports appears slim, as the industry has already made sustained investments to boost output and exports. To sum up, India's export surplus in toys during 2020 to 21 and 2020 to 22 is a welcome change. However, it seems to be driven by a rise in protectionism and the exceptional circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic. The turnaround doesn't seem to be the outcome of the strengthening domestic investment and production on a sustained basis. Since around 2000, the industry has shrunk with rising imports until 2 years ago. Though minuscule as the industry has an outsized role in policy discourse, the study seems to offer valuable lessons. Neither this reservation policy as during the planning era, nor its abolition after the liberal reforms boosted the industry performance. One should perhaps look behind the simplistic binaries, planning versus reforms, and examine the ground reality of industrial locations and clusters to tailor policies and institutions to nurture such industries. This is about the unboxing export turnaround in India's ties story. So let me go to the next page. Using Buddhism as a tool of soft power, rethinking alliances in Andhra. Clean energy funds rise burst mostly in China, Europe, US. Clashes in Manipur, nothing to do with the counterinsurgency situation, primarily due to conflict between two ethnicities, says CDS General Anil Chauhan challenges in state will settle with time. Amit Shah appeals for 15-day peace in Manipur. Congress meets the president seeking high-level panel to probe Manipur violence. Opposition parties together at national level, says Mamata. Restless Dipur plan to immerse medals. Vechuri asks Congress to join AAP's fight against union government in Delhi services too. Every decision is in the last 9 years guided by a desire to improve people's lives. PM. 10 pilgrims killed as bus falls upgrades in Jammu. ED conducts searches against Job and MLA. Despite Gaylord pilot proves, key issues are yet to be ironed out. Government drops plans to host SEO summit in Delhi will now be in virtual format. Center has not got confirmation from some SEO countries, including China and Pakistan. Migration agents are letting students down. Australian Hanoi. Indian keen to boost ties with Cambodia. 35 lakh students of class 10 failed or dropped out in 2021 to 22. Education Ministry. Government also wants to analyze which board performs well in NEET has secured better ranks, as there may be significant variance in syllabus leading to barriers for national level common test. Khalistan reference removed from class 12th NCERT textbook. For 4,433 kg of poppy straw was one course seized in Gujarat. Two had. Fresh excavation reveals pre-Mauryan era science in Delhi's Purana Kila site. INMA Awards. The Hindu in school gets honorable mention. Mahaperia was message. Israeli civilians shot dead near entrance to West Bank settlement. Elon Musk meets Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang during visit. UN chief very concerned over Uganda's harsh anti-gay law. China declined meeting with Lloyd Austin. Pentagon. Imran Khan appears in court, submits surety bond. Drones hit Moscow buildings as key struck for third day. Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes begins prison term. NATO soldiers on guard in Kosovo served town after clashes. Chinese mission with fast civilian reaches peace. India's growth momentum likely to sustain in financial year 24. RBI, the central bank, hours reiterated the need for structural reforms and amid slowing global growth and geopolitical tensions. India is expected to have recorded 7% growth in real GDP in 2022 to 23. HTM bonds seals to hurt banks, but not as badly as in US. Hardening interest rates, geopolitical risks impacting FDI inflows, DPIIT secretary. Apollo Hospitals Q4 net profit rises 50%. EID Ferries Q4 profit slumps 64% to 83 crore. How the hold found sanctuary and the new blossomed under CSK umbrella. The MS Nodi Stephen Fleming partnership that has been in place since 2009 provided the perfect environment for a successful title run. Redemption Val and truly complete for Super Kings trusted lieutenant. Dhoni keen to pay a pad up for one more season as a gift for the fans. It's a fatal finish. I couldn't have asked for more. First round shock for Medvedev as he falls to the 172nd ranked wild. Zverev makes a winning return. Birthday boy Gukesh Carlson. The Indian teenager outfits the favorite in 97 moves by following the lines of Lawson opening. Abdul Satoro emerges the Blades champion. Jyoti wins women's 100 meter hurdles gold in Netherlands. UWO condemns the detention, threatens suspension of WFI. Fully geared up for next Pro League games, Manpreet. Fitness and adaptability are the keys. How about the Dhoni Cup? Allied money for sports person appeal for peace. A heartbreaking loss in the final notwithstanding, Hardik and his Titans are here to stay. While many sides may need an overhaul in several upper departments next season, the 2023 champion looks set to re-emerge forward as it is by a leader who will not settle for mediocrity. The amazing rise of Luton from non-league football to the Premiership. Testing breakthrough challenges world's worst wildlife disease. Asia is lagging behind the test of the world in citrid research. Yet a new qPCR test detected high levels of cited in a range of amphibian species in India. The test will need to be validated before it can become the gold standard. Mosquitoes intact vectors cannot transmit HIV. So use of needle like a proboscis has to suck blood from our body. Therefore, will not mosquitoes spread AIDS just as they spread malaria? No, said Dr. Krishnamurthy, the project director, AIDS prevention and assessment program, voluntary health services. And it has been categorically proved in many ways that mosquitoes or any other insects vector cannot transmit the immunodeficiency virus, which is responsible for causing the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome (ASD). Case of malaria, filaria, the mosquito acts as an intermediary host in which the parasite undergoes one life cycle. The malaria parasite multiplies in the body of the mosquito and gets collected in the mouth, ready for diffusion on a host. This is the exact vector. DU looks at rising foreign admissions in the academic year 2023 to 24. The number of torch bearers to carry Olympic flame in Paris. Maharashtra performers to get financial aid and a new scheme. P-Notes investment hit on an all-time high in 4 months this April. RBI's balance sheet increases in the financial year 2023. The shift in the US approach to China, which what has been the takeaway from the recent G7 summit in Hiroshima. Why is the US shifting from the Trump era policy of decoupling to de-risking in its attitude towards China? How has China reacted to the change in policy? Did the Russia-Ukraine conflict play a role? How are Indian languages faring in the age of ChatGPT? Many Indian languages don't have sufficient data for language models to train with. It faces the risk of being left behind. Some researchers are working on remedies. The Big Ben in London, England started ticking for the first time on May 31, 1859. Here is the Johann clock towers from across the world. Let's end the paper reading. This is the last page. Many Indians languages don't have sufficient data for language models to train with and face the risk of being left behind. Some researchers were working on remedies. Yes, it's going to end. I hope you guys are reading the newspaper at least 2 hours a day to make you better in communication. So please subscribe the channel, like and comment. See you in the upcoming videos. Have a great day. Thank you so much.